That's great, and the sun's come out for me as well. Apologies if the first live streaming scheduled one didn't work. I don't know how to continue it, I'm afraid, so I had to start again. Never mind. Yeah, as I said, the sun's coming out. Look at that. This is Terry again in his Scottish garden, faffing about, doing odd things, pottering, as you say, in the garden. Just thought I'd let you see what I was doing. I titled it something to do with Adaptations for COVID. I'll start off with that and I'll show you what we've got. This is my patio area, such as it is. Not a big area. One of the restrictions we have in Scotland at present is that we can only meet with other households in numbers of maximum 6 people, 2 households, outside and not inside the house at all. So any of my relatives, my son and daughter-in-law, my other daughter, my other son, if he manages to come up here, we can really only meet outside. So what I bought some time ago was this thing here. It's an arbour, it's called, and it's just like a sentry box. You can sit in, and because you've got the walls here, you've got a bit of shelter, you've got a roof on it, and it's amazing. It makes a big difference. It cuts the wind from above and from the sides and makes it a little bit warmer if you're sitting with a cup of coffee or something, or a pint of beer. But to make it even better, I thought it'd be nice to have some heat. So I built up a little fireplace area, just with spare bits of concrete and curbing. But to make it even better lighting and a bit better than that, I got a hold of that thing there that you can see, cast iron grate. So the cast iron grate will go, if you can see this or not here, I'll just clear this out a bit. Cast iron grate was sitting here. And a few logs in there. I've got a couple of bags of kiln dried logs, which hopefully won't be too smoky and will give us a bit of heat. So that's okay for 2 of us sitting together in here. That's all right. Let's see more of it actually, if anybody's interested in these things. I think it was maybe a couple £100 for this thing. That opens up, seat opens up, and you can keep your fire lighters, bags of logs, any old junk can go in there. It's not 100% waterproof, but it's not bad. You wouldn't put anything in that might mould or spoil with wet, but it's okay for bags of logs like that. So yes, that's one thing. That's okay for a couple of us. But if others are coming, they have to be outside as well with us and have to be distanced as well. Social distancing, as everybody knows these days, is so important. Outside, I don't think we need the full 2 meters or 6 feet, approximately. Maybe 1 meter, 1.5 meters is okay. So people could be sitting just here and on the other side here and get the benefit of the warmth from a log fire when they get it going. So plenty of seats, keeping them dry as well. So is that. But having said that, it's still a little bit slightly drafty, a little breeze all the time. And if we could stop that, and if we could allow for any sudden rain that comes on, that'd be even better. I've tried using parasols. I've got some of them over there stacked up still in the shed, but they're past their best, to be honest. A couple of them are anyway. And they're a bit difficult. It's difficult to find a place just right for them if you have chairs and things here as well. So what I have in mind is to get an awning, the kind of wind out awnings that you find above shops that can be retracted in the evening, and fitting them up there. So one going from either side of the arbour, as it were, above the window. Over there, that would, something like 3 metres, 9 feet approximately, would cover us from that side of the fire all the way over to the other side. Plenty of room for chairs either side, well distanced from each other and from us in the arbour. We'll be sitting there. I might get a couple of coronets or something. We can sit there like king and queen, and hold court. So we'd have that, and it would come out. You wind the handle, and it comes out. I'm still thinking which size to get. It will be quite high up, so probably it could actually cover over where the fire is. I'm not too sure about that, just in case sparks come straight up and damage the fabric or set fire to it. If I get a smaller width one, it would come out to around about just about the edge of the fire, front edge of the fire. And that still leaves quite a lot of room for chairs to go in there. So that would be okay. And in the summertime, you can move this arbour away, bring the table out here, and it would also be covered by the awning, canvas awning, when it comes out as well. So again, allow for any little bits of rain or drizzly weather if we want to be outside. Okay, what else can I show you? I don't know if there's anybody else looking just now, is there? Nobody else looking in that I can see. Yeah, maybe anybody there? Not yet. Okay, so that's the start of things. What else can I show you that I'm going to do today? I'm generally clearing up the garden. It's a good time to get rid of junk. It's a good time to get rid of stuff where slugs and snails might want to hide for the winter time. So any old broken bits of pots or sheets of polythene that are lying around, slugs and snails love getting into those. And very often I'll lift something like that and I find it's a little holiday home for mollusks. So getting rid of those is a good idea. Don't give pests somewhere to hide for the winter time. You can avoid it. It's also a good time to sort out what's recyclable and what's not. I'm looking at odd things like this, which I think had mushrooms in. It's tempting just to throw it in the bin. But in one corner, I can see there's a little recycling sign, little triangle. So I'm going to give that a go, recycle it. Recycling as much as I can. I don't like just to send things to landfill. Some things, regrettably, like these things here, are just a bit too wasted, too dirty, too something to be recycled. There's no point spoiling the recycling with really bad stuff. So yeah, so some of that has to go out, unfortunately. So my big project really for today is to make sure this patio is cleared, sort out that fire grill grate area. And if it's nice tonight, if it's fair, and somebody wants to visit, they can come and burn a few logs, maybe have a coffee or beer outside. That'd be quite nice. Anyway, so that's that. Awning is a big thing. And get an awning ordered. They come in at about, one that size, about 3 metres by about 2.5. Comes in about maybe £140. So it's not bad. It makes things easier in the garden. Other thing I'm going to do, if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll see my no-dig method. It's not my no-dig method, but I'm trying a no-dig method of gardening. Tried it this year for the first time, where you put down cardboard. Come down here a wee bit. Right, that's my main no-dig area this year. You put down cardboard on top of the soil. Thick cardboard, like cardboard over here. Try reclaim before it went to the dump. The neighbour was having some work done, so I asked the guys if I could take away some of the rubbish, and they were delighted. So I got some of that. And what you do is put the cardboard down and then put compost of some kind on top of it. Like that. It's actually working quite well because the cardboard keeps down the weeds and the compost on top keeps the cardboard in place, and you just plant down through the compost and through the cardboard into the soil below. It keeps the weeds down, or has kept the weeds down quite well. We have new weeds now. I think that's just from seeds falling on top later on in the year, like this grass. But yeah, and I'll make a video if you want to look in some other time. I'm making a video showing the lifting of the last. You see that? Yeah, the lifting of the last of the onions. I tried no-dig onions. That's what my video is called, something like no-dig onions. So I left out the last of those. I also put brassicas in using that method. Not so good, I don't think, but the onions are fine. Yeah, onions are okay. I've got a few left, so I'll show you how they go. I also did a video of planting potatoes in bags, and I'm afraid I've done a good job on that. They're in there. I'll video digging them up, emptying them out, and show you what they're like. But really, I've done that badly. I just strangely I ran out of time. You're supposed to top it up all the time, and I'm afraid, I neglected to do that. I got involved in other things. So that didn't happen. I'll be surprised if there are many potatoes in there at all of any size. Well, there you go. Also, excuse me, wipe my nose. Also, another video I did was a live stream, in fact, a number of weeks ago, of sunflowers, well, a sunflower in particular. In fact, probably this one over here, which has now it's now gone to seed. So I had about an hour or so of just a sunflower in the garden, being visited by bees and wasps and flies and various things. So what I'm doing with these, I've just secured them a bit better. It's surprising to me how well these things stand up to storms. We had a heck of a storm just the other night, and these things didn't fall over and get broken. So they're incredible. But I've given them an extra little bit of staking, and I'm going to leave them there, and the birds can have them. So blue tits and things can come along and just help themselves to any seeds that are worked. I don't think the seeds are really designed from this variety. Not designed for making seeds for human consumption, really. You can eat them if they're formed, but it's not great at forming seeds. So I'll just leave those. That'll be good for the wildlife. It's always good to leave a bit for them. The cardboard I have there, that I was showing you. See it in there. Cardboard. I'm doing this all on my laptop, I'm afraid. I can't do live streaming from my phone until I get 1,000 subscribers, which I'm never going to get in a million years. Cardboard there, I'm going to use, I don't know, where I'll put it. I might put some down here. This has got some flowers in, which somebody gave me years ago. These things here, yellow things, I can't remember what they're called. And they kindly gave me some to put in, and they just spread like a weed. They've become more of a nuisance. So I think I'll get rid of those by putting the cardboard down, flatten it out a bit. I'll flatten it out, and I'll put the cardboard down, put something on top to weigh it down for the winter. Compost, used compost if I can get hold of it. And then I'll maybe use that as a bed of some kind. Plant a few carrots in or something like that. I've got Niphophia at one end. This is Niphophia, and that's okay. It gets full of slugs which are difficult to get rid of in there. But they're quite pretty. I'll leave those. And I've got some fresh ones growing from rhizomes, I think they are, that I bought during the summer. So I have those in a pot. And I'll plant those somewhere as well. So yeah, so cardboard down there, we'll get rid of the weeds there. And I can plant that with veg and things. What is I thought I'd find a caterpillar and I haven't. Yeah, what have we got still I can pick? Well, little bits of broccoli there, not big ones. As I said, the brassicas I don't think have been that successful. We've had some broccoli, we've had some cauliflower, which we just cut the cauliflower out and left the rest. One thing about the no-dig method, by the way, is you don't generally haul the whole plant up. When I'm finished with these, I can just cut at the base of the plant against the soil, cut that away, and then I can compost the remains, but leave the roots in the soil to rot. Because what I'll be doing is putting fresh cardboard on top and then some fresh compost. What I have in mind is trying to get a hold of some spent mushroom compost. I don't like the idea of taking compost which has been obtained from the wild, disrupting an ecosystem somewhere in an Irish peat bog, for example. So I don't want birds or anything else, or insects or anything, to be displaced by draining a bog so that I can get compost in my garden. So I'd much rather get some stuff that's been used already, maybe for growing mushrooms. I've tried using the no peat, the peat-free compost from the cheap supermarkets. There's two cheap supermarkets I'm sure you're aware of who do it, but I wasn't happy with it. The stuff I had ended up with had bits of kitchen laminate boarding, little like bits of plastic. It had actually a piece of glass, sharp bits of glass in as well. So when I first noticed that, I then became aware that I needed to use gloves any time I was handling that stuff. Generally with compost, it's quite nice to get your hands in amongst it, just use your hands to fill pots. But not with that stuff. With the cheap stuff, peat-free, be careful. Depends on the brand, I'm sure, but the stuff I had little bits of glass in. So yeah, that's it. So what else can I show you? I've covered over the soil for the time being with plastic. I'll put cardboard on shortly. That's where the potatoes were. And I got a reasonable number of potatoes this year. That was a no-dig bed with cardboard. Potatoes weren't. Potatoes were just ordinary. That was no-dig with cardboard. And maybe I can show you this one better. Can you see cardboard under there? But it's doing what it's meant to do. It's decomposing. It's almost humus. It's almost part of the soil now. So it can only do good for the soil. But I'll do it again. In there as well, you see that little leak. I got leaks far too late, just because it was difficult to get out to places. Garden centres were closed due to COVID and so on. So I got leaks far too late. But I planted them anyway. And there they are. They're doing, not too well, but they might grow still. I might harvest them in the winter time. I also got sweet corn, and you can see the sweet corn there. Again, far too late, and they just didn't catch up at all. But yeah, some were in, some were lose. This part here was not no-dig. I just dug over an area which was very gravelly, and I planted carrots in it. And at the same time as I planted the carrots, I planted French marigolds, which are, it makes the bed a bit prettier looking. Some people say that it attracts predators, which then attack things which might be eating your crop. So there's no harm in having them there. And certainly my carrots were fine. I didn't really have any problem with pests, apart from just within the last few weeks, now that growth has slowed down and slugs are starting to eat them. But before that, it was fine. Also at the back, those pink things near the greenhouse are king mallows. I planted some king mallows in various places, mainly around the front of the house, but a few here. And all my carrots are pretty much gone. My grandchildren have eaten a number of them as well. Maya and Claire come round and will want a carrot. Kartofka. I was very greedy, I had lots of seeds, and I thought, I'm not going to waste them. Let's plant some in buckets. You can see the result. Far too much competition in there. I was still teaching biology. I would tell people it was intra-specific competition. No, I'm forgetting them. Intra-specific within the same species. And you end up with, can't get out one hand. You might see there's lots of them there. They're pretty tiny. Some of them might be okay for sticking in a tray in the oven. But you're looking around at the other bucket here. Yeah, nothing much doing there. Yeah, nothing much. Sit down for a second and see. I can see my friend Glenray. Oof. Hi Glenray. Thank you. I'm looking very bright anyway. I'm feeling okay. Touch wood, I'm feeling fine. I hope you're well yourself. Are you well? You're keeping yourself healthy and careful, especially when you go out. I'm assuming everything's working. Can anybody, can you hear me okay? Yeah, it's that time of year, Glenray, when we just have to get out in the garden and do things whether we want to or not. And actually, I quite like getting out in the garden. Yeah, once you get your boots on and your old clothes on and out there doing things, it's quite nice. It's difficult to go back in fact, once I come outside for a bit. My wife was going over to do things in the church hall for a short time. So when she comes back, she has sandwiches in the house for us. And we'll either sit in, or if we keep our outdoor clothing on, we could even sit inside this arbour. We get a little bit of shelter, as I was saying earlier, bit of shelter from the wind, which is okay. And I don't know if you're here when I talked about the fire, but I have a little fireplace there. And it's got the fire grate, which I just received in the post the other day. That's great, thank you. And if people come round, if my daughter and her partner, or my son and daughter-in-law from across the road, 5 of them want to come round, we're allowed 2 households meeting together, so it's one or the other. They can come and I'll maybe put a log on, and we can sit and pretend we're feeling warm. The atmosphere is nice when you have some logs burning anyway. There's nothing quite like an open fire, is there? You know, you can get some of the noise, get the smell, it looks good, and if you're lucky, you get some warmth as well. The position of this arbour is quite close to the fire. We're probably not too close, we won't get smoked to blazes. I'm thinking of maybe getting a stool of some kind of range so that we can put our feet up. We can toast our feet. If we want to toast marshmallows, we'll need to get off our backsides and get a bit closer to do that. I think my grandkids might enjoy doing the toasting of marshmallows. We just have to watch them, be careful they won't fall. I've got enough sort of bricks and concrete and things, curb edges, hopefully to give it a little bit of protection from kids. But yeah, anytime a fire's on, we're going to be here as well watching them. And if it comes to the bit, I also have grids like this. So I'm sure I can arrange something with a few extra bricks to raise up the edges, put that across, and we can cook a burger or two or a few sausages. That'd be quite nice. Make a party of it. Yeah, cooking on the fire. Nothing quite like it, is there? I mean, the taste of things, the smell of things when it's outside, even if you go to a fairground, something like that, where they're selling hot dogs or hamburgers, the smell of cooking onions is something that's hard to resist for most of us, I think. Frying onions, fabulous. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the first communal campfire together. And I mentioned earlier about an awning, the kind of things you get in shops, which can be rolled out to cover the pavement sometimes, with tables underneath in cafes. I'm thinking of having that here above the awning, and that can come out. It can give us some cover, and if we get some surprise rain, or even if it's a bit windy, as long as it's not too windy to use the thing, it'll give us a little bit of shelter from the wind from above, and that will help people a bit as well. Yeah, we're okay. We will be okay, hopefully, in this awning. We've got a little bit of shelter from wind, and with the heat coming from the fire, we should be okay. I'm actually thinking about, is it possible to mount a heater? If anybody has any ideas, if anybody else is watching as well, there's a kind of trellis thing here on the top. I'm thinking I could put a cable through there and have maybe infrared heat lamps or a blower heater or something. Quite easy to get electricity from the kitchen window. Just leave the window open a crack, put the cable there, you can plug in. As long as it's something in here that could demount and take into the house or put into a shed afterwards. The weather we have here is not that clement during the winter time. It's all the way through till March, April even. It can be quite stormy, and we've got a lot of rain and snow, whatnot coming in. So we don't like to leave anything sort of like permanently out here that's electrical. That probably just waste. So whatever it is, it'll need to be demountable. My wife says she doesn't want anything that electrical that might fall on her head, and I can sympathise with that view. And neither do I. I don't want anything falling on my head. Yeah, so it's okay. It's a good time in the garden. It's a nice time to get rid of stuff. Yeah, that's right. You can make somebody else's cooking. I don't know. Somehow, I think a neighbour's stuff cooking always seems to smell better than yours. So maybe when I'm cooking, the neighbours are getting the benefit as well. They'll think, wow, the McGearys are having a fabulous barbecue out there. Yeah, so today is a good day for tidying up, getting rid of rubbish. We've had some terrible stormy weather for the last week, and this is the first really decent day we've had. So I'm taking advantage of it and getting a few things done. The greenhouse. Let me see the greenhouse. I ordered some plastic. You can buy twin wall polycarbonate plastic to replace glass on greenhouses. So I've ordered some of that, and I got a huge sheet. I think it's 5 meters long. And what I'm going to do is cut it with an electric saw. So I'm going to cut it and do some repairs. This one here, I'm thinking of removing all of that, 3 sheets, and replacing it with one piece of polycarbonate and cutting another piece for up here. See how that will go. I can at least do this one. It's unfortunate that it's okay there, it's kind of right angle. But this side here, the whole greenhouse gently slopes inwards a little bit. So I'm going to have to take a sliver all the way off the edge, which is not that nice, not that good to do. That's a big sheet I have. So that will do, I feel that'll do that one. I'll do one on the side here. This one's a straight rectangle, that's fine. So I'll do this one as well. It might, if I'm lucky, it will do this one on the back of the greenhouse too. It'll be okay. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a thought. It is a thought. Drilling through. Don't know, yeah. It's worth considering, drilling through the wall. We've had to do it, or somebody had to do it. I didn't do it myself. I'm an electrician when we had a room conversion done a couple of years ago. I did that. He drilled a hole up here, straight through. So I don't know where he's taken that connection from, but it does go right through to a switch inside. So it's part of the lighting circuit. Yeah, I can do that here, but it does mean drilling through a double brick wall with a cavity. Not impossible. For what we'd be doing with it, unless I get a heated conservatory or greenhouse or something, it's probably easier just opening the window a crack there and plugging in. Yeah. If I need a lot of electricity, if I get a big shed and I want a light in it, then yeah, I might consider, as you say, doing that, getting a waterproof socket outside. That'd be okay. Yeah. So there are a few jobs needing done here. You doing much in the garden yourself? Do you have weather still for barbecues and actually doing things outside? What I'm going to do also before the winter, I hope, if I manage to do it, is take that shed and ditch it. It has unfortunately a fairly flat roof. There's not much of a slope on it. And I've got this plastic and bitumen corrugated roofing. It's never really been highly successful. It does cast off a bit, but sometimes when snow melts, water goes backwards and manages to come down into the shed. It's not an ideal construction. It's been there for donkey's years. I don't know, many years, 20 years. It's hard to drill into, actually. The material itself is so resistant to drilling. I've broken as many drill bits on it. And water has gotten in. Yeah, so it's not a great solution. Oh, that's not here. Tap into the light. Yeah. Okay for a light. Depends what kind of rating is in the wiring for it, doesn't it? And heating tends to take a fair bit, probably a kilowatt or so, I would imagine. Yeah. Yeah, during the fall, you lose your light very quickly. I find it's good. It encourages, well, it didn't work this morning, but it generally encourages me to get up early in the morning while we still have light. Because in the evening, you're losing the light about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I end up, as I'm doing a couple of nights, I end up using my Costco head torch, which is pretty good. It does the job. It allows me to carry on working quite nicely. Yeah. Hey, talking to Glenray and giving away. My wife is now back, so we're going to have sandwiches. Yeah, see, she's got a mask. That's good. Always have your mask. So yeah, so that's my big thing. I'm going to try and get rid of that shed. I need help to carry it through. I have plenty male relatives to help me carry stuff through from one side of the house to the other through our little room. It's quite heavy metal. It's awkward. So they can help me carry it through, and then I'll get the council rubbish van to come and pick it up, move my shed. But everybody needs a shed, as I'm sure you know, so I'll get another shed, but make my wooden one this time with a little window in. Now, if I want light, actually, I could take a connection from that one outside the door, couldn't I? I could tap into that and get the cable across to a decent shed and try and keep it tidy this time, rather than filling it with rubbish. Hey, well done, thank you. I'll tell you if we're back. It's a pity they don't have a Zoom facility on this where people could just pop up at the time, isn't it? Anyway, well, it's nice talking to you. Thanks very much. I hope you have a good day. I hope your election has turned out to your satisfaction, whichever that is. And I'll go and have my Subway, probably a tuna Subway, maybe with black olives and corn, I reckon. It might be the one. So, that's it. It's quite nice. I might just bring my sandwich out and have it out here. Yeah, so that's you and everybody else who happens to look and caught up with what I'm doing, what I intend doing within the next few days even. And if I get an awning ordered and fitted, maybe let people see on a video how that works out. I'll certainly do a little video of the fireplace with the burning logs and hopefully us, maybe others, sitting by the fire, perhaps toasting marshmallows, who knows. Okay, thanks for watching. Anybody who's happened to have passed by and looking at this, if you want to see any of those other things happening, click that button and leave a comment, say hello. It's always nice to hear from people. So goodbye from a surprisingly sunny Scottish back garden. Bye, Glenray. Right, where's the button to switch it off? Yep, have a good day. Thank you.